Like the worst thing in the world, right, is to be in a season where you're trying to figure things out and you think you all by yourself and you having these conversations with yourself, telling yourself, I'm doing this by myself. Ain't nobody got my back. I'm trying to, I'm trying to do all the shopping. I'm trying to do X, Y, Z. And I just feel like I'm all by myself. When you got a team of people that show up weekly inside of here, not only to share gems, but to share the same pains and aches that they're running into with this game called Meal Prep, with this game called Hitting My Macro. Every week you ladies show up in here and there's gems that's being dropped. But what happens is when people don't show up, they try to create this story wrapped around, try to create this story and wrap it around the fabrication of I'm doing this alone. This is my season of doing this alone. When it's really not the season of doing it alone. You're choosing this season to be alone. And when you're trying to fight out of a pit, and when you're trying to fight out of a pit, and you're trying to and you're struggling, and you striving, you scratching, and you crawling, it is the absolute wrong time to go to invert and to become an introvert and try to do this by yourself. Because as an introvert myself, the classic thing I'll do is go, all right, you can figure this out. And whatever plan sounds real good, it's gonna be the world's worst plan in the world, but you will make it sound good so that your ego. And I'm the master. Like I master that. I can tell you right now, I'll make anything sound good so that way I could get proceed down that path. Ultimately, when I should have just had a conversation with someone to say, man, does this sound right? Just so simple. Does this sound right? It's a huge course correction. I remember this one time I was literally gonna just burn the bridges with our team, completely shut it all down, and go back to work, right? And go back and get a 9 to 5. I never forget. I was gonna go back and get a 9 to 5, and I was talking to my old bosses at U-Haul, stuff like that, and they were like, yeah, come on board. We actually opened up a training facility. You can like train client, you can train everybody at U-Haul here. You can get them all set up on training programs so you know the jam. Like, yeah, we're more than happy to bring you back into our family. No strings attached. Just come back, get started. So I literally was like, I was like, okay, well, shit, that's a steady paycheck. I mean, I get 2 weeks vacation, I get some sick time. Man, that sounds good. That actually sounds real good right now, cause like I'm in this pit and I'm struggling and nothing's working out. Like nothing's working out inside this business. Nothing's lining up. Like I keep running into pitfall after pitfall. Life keep throwing me curveball after curveball, and I feel like I can't catch a fucking break. Yeah, this sound real good. Let me go ahead and shut down what I'm doing. Completely shut it down, nix it, get it. Let me go back to work. I'm gonna do my regular 9 to 5. So right, literally at the 11th hour, I decided to call my homeboy Orlando, who I worked with at U-Haul for 10 years before I left. Orlando's still there. Orlando's about to come up on his 30th year. And I called my boy Orlando. I said, Orlando, I just talked to Steve. I just talked to Berman. I just talked to JT. They talking about, yo, they're gonna let me come back, and we're in the training program at U-Haul. And Orlando was like, bro, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard. I want you, he said, Chris, say it out loud. What did our mentor, our department head, always told us to say when we got an idea? Say it out loud. See if it makes sense when you say it out loud. So I started saying it out loud. I started going like, all right, I'm gonna drop what I'm doing as an entrepreneur. I'm gonna drop running my own business and go work for somebody else. And they're gonna pay me a salary of what they want. And he was like, say it again. So I'm gonna quit my business. I'm gonna shut it down. I'm gonna go work for somebody else, and they're gonna pay me what they think I'm worth. He was like, say it one more time. All right, Orlando, I can't even say it the third time. Because at that point, Orlando, what he was simply telling me was that, dude, you were no longer mentally or psychologically employable. You can't work for somebody else. You've been gone too long working for yourself. The only way you're able to work for somebody else, Chris, you're gonna have to be walking with a cane or in a wheelchair. That's the only way you're gonna be mentally employable to work for somebody else. As of right now, you unemployed. You mentally unemployable because you're gonna show up and you're gonna be here for 3 days and you're gonna quit. A, because you're gonna feel like the compensation is not what it should be. B, because you're used to designing and creating your own schedule. C, you don't want nobody over you because you haven't had anybody over you in the last. You're psychologically unemployed. You're psychologically unemployed. So why even entertaining? It took one of my good friends for me to have a conversation with him to realize that I was just nothing more than in a pit and I was searching for something that sounded good. You're gonna go through season where you feel like you all alone. And it's gonna be some season where you truly are doing some shit all alone. But before you start taking on that mentality of feeling like you're all alone, first thing, say it out loud. See if it makes sense when you say it out loud. Second thing, talk to somebody. If you can make it make sense saying it out loud, and then you're back up, your phone a friend and have that conversation and go, let me dive in and chat with somebody else that's in the same situation as me. See if it makes sense. And you phone a friend And if y'all two can agree that it makes sense, okay, cool, run with it. But if you phone a friend and they look at you like you crazy, and they're going, all right, girl, all right, they give you that, yeah, all right, cool. I mean, that's what you want to do, because you know your friends don't really want to hurt your feelings unless you got friends like mine. Mine are true assholes. They don't care about my feelings. They don't care about my feelings. They just tell me like it is, but I appreciate it. But you give your girlfriend out there that she going, all right, girl. I mean, that sounds good. Cool. You know it's a bad idea. At that point, you got to understand. At that point, you're just nothing more than in a pit. You're not alone. You just need to seek some help, and you cannot be afraid to reach your hand out for help.